Orleans is going all out this weekend, hoping that it and the GOP convention will make beautiful music together. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Like the Democratic convention last month in Atlanta, the Republican convention next week in New Orleans promises to have a Texas flavor. Joining us live from New Orleans with the Texas connection is Clarice Tinsley. Clarice, how's it going there?
Barbara, it's going to be quite a week. Republicans were officially welcomed to the city of New Orleans this afternoon with pomp and a little bragging by the mayor of this host city.
We are handling the opening of the Republican convention, and we're doing it better, more organized, more beautiful than any other city has ever done it before.
Now, the welcoming ceremonies included music by high school bands, marching drill teams, the traditional release of red, white, and blue balloons, and some not-so-showy but very loud daytime fireworks. The Republicans have come to town. And the talk of the town tonight is about who Vice President Bush will select as his vice president. Channel 4's Richard Ray has been following the Bush campaign from day one. And, Rich, the choice of who the VP is going to be is about the only unanswered question we have going into this convention. The Bush people really want to keep the suspense and the surprise going, don't they?
Well, they're trying now. It may well leak out beforehand, but George Bush says that he's going to use a Thursday meeting of the Texas delegation to formally announce just who that running mate will be.
George Bush, along with his vice presidential nominee, will be appearing before our Texas caucus on Thursday morning. Penny and I were delighted to hear that news. This will be the first time that the next president will be showing the world who his vice president will be.
Tom Leffler, co-chair of Bush's Texas campaign, called it a tremendous honor. Former Senator John Towers says it reinforces Bush's commitment to Texas.
Well, Texas is very important, obviously, to both parties. I think that if we carry Texas, we carry the country. And I know that both parties will focus on Texas in this campaign. That's pretty obvious.
Veep stakes speculation is the talk of the town, and most talked about is Kansas Senator Bob Dole, Bush's closest rival in the primaries. Conventional wisdom has New York Congressman Jack Kemp the co-favorite for the second slot. But other names are being discussed, and George Bush appears determined not to signal toward whom he's leaning. In the last 24 hours, a short list of 6 names has emerged. Dole and Kemp are on it, of course, and along with 3 relatively unknown senators. Alan Simpson of Wyoming, Pete Domenici of New Mexico, and something of a surprise, a senator from Indiana named Dan Quayle. Now, the longest shot of all among those 6 names may be the other Dole, Elizabeth. We'll see.
All right, Rich, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Texas delegates began arriving in New Orleans today to the news that they would be the first to know who George Bush's running mate will be. Channel 4's Steve Stoller is standing by live down there in the Superdome. Steve, what's the reaction of the Texas delegation?
Well, Clarice, needless to say, the Texas delegates are just simply elated. It emphasizes once again the important role Texas will play in the November election. We saw evidence of it in Atlanta last month at the Democratic National Convention. Well, it's happening here again in New Orleans. Consider this. The Republican National Convention manager is a Dallasite. Texas Senator Phil Gramm will officially place the vice president's name into nomination. And now, Bush will announce his choice of running mate at a meeting of the Texas delegation. About 24 Texas delegates have arrived in New Orleans. Most will arrive tomorrow, the day before the convention. They will be staying at the Canal Street Marriott in the French Quarter, the same hotel where the vice president will stay. Those who came early are thrilled their native son will bring the big news home first.
Texas is very important to George Bush. That's the reason we're in the hotel with the vice president campaign.
I'm excited. Our delegation will get a real charge out of that. You know, it's sort of like your favorite son who's away from home too long and then finally comes home for a visit.
We claim him. You know, we consider George Bush as a Texan, so we think it's only right that he brings his choice to us first.
A CBS News KDFW poll shows 27% of all Texas delegates favor Jack Kemp as Bush's running mate. Dallas delegate Ross Branian says he has a gut feeling Kemp will be selected.
All of my polling, there has been not one person had anything against Jack Kemp. And all the rest of the candidates, or the potential vice presidential candidates have some negative factor in Dallas.
I supported Jack Kemp as the vice presidential nominee. He was my personal pick, but I can tell you I'll be behind whoever is on that ticket.
As you heard, even the Texas delegates who want Jack Kemp on the ticket say they'll strongly support whoever George Bush chooses. They say the important thing is not who's on the ticket, but that they beat Michael Dukakis in November. Clarice?
All right, Steve, thanks for that report. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, tomorrow the convention gets a big boost as President and Mrs. Reagan arrive. They will come to a welcoming extravaganza here in New Orleans. And Texas delegates will continue coming to the Crescent City. We'll have their stories, more stories, tomorrow. Barbara, back to you.
Clarice, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.